good blast here, true side.
Welcome to Hokey Religion, the Star Wars podcast. This episode, we're going to talk a little more about Solo, some new stuff announced for Galaxy's Edge at Disney, and other items. This is Tyler.
This is Michael.
Welcome to episode 73.
Hello, everybody.
So, Michael,
Yes,
how have you been?
I've been good.
That's great to hear. Thank you.
Good. How have you been?
Wonderful.
Cool.
I've been reading about the toxicity and the fandom of Star Wars, and that just gets my blood pumping. It's real.
Gets my blood going to those places that
Yeah.
I don't like.
Yeah, we were talking about this right before we recorded, and I don't know how much we actually want to talk about it on the podcast or not. About the whole thing with Kelly Marie Tran getting off of, quote, forced off of Instagram. The groups that are taking responsibility for that and using Star Wars as the platform for their hate speech, basically.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it
Whereas
again.
Star Wars is just where they're choosing to let their hate speech be an outlet for when it has nothing to do with Star Wars or Star Wars fandom. It's just toxicity and people and...
Yeah, it's just stupid people being stupid because they saw an open door and it was easy for them to apply their backwards logic to something that they have no clue about or care about ultimately.
Yeah.
It's dumb. It doesn't make any sense, their arguments. It doesn't their stupid clamoring for whatever it is that they want
Their
isn't going to
platform
change
of
anything.
wanting all the Legends stuff to be brought back as canon and stopping the perversion of canon that's happening now. Which the moment Disney said that stuff was Legends, that was done. There's no battle to be had.
That's not going back.
It's not going to happen.
It doesn't matter.
And so they're just using that platform to
It doesn't matter how
spout
much
their hate speech and other stuff and sexist and just shitty behavior, which has nothing to do with Star Wars. It's just shitty people being shitty people, and Star Wars is getting blamed for being toxic when it's not Star Wars. It's just shitty people, and it pisses me off.
it doesn't make any sense. It's
Dear everyone, don't be shitty. And don't use other stuff as the basis for your self-hate and outward just babbling.
your outward babbling.
Blame yourself.
Keep that babbling inward.
Blame yourself. Don't blame Star Wars, you piece of shit. Yeah. Everybody be good people. And if someone acts like that, call them out on it, because that's shitty.
It's dumb. It like I said, the arguments don't make any sense.
No.
It's just a bunch of whiners and complainers that don't care about the thing that they say that they care about.
Right. That's pretty much it.
It's a bunch of shit.
So yeah, I'm not trying to be hot topic about, because that's what's going on right now. It's just, it
Hot
pisses me off.
Hot topic.
Yeah, not to try to be hot topic about it. It's just, it's happening right now, and it's really super horrible, and also annoying that it's being related to something
That we actually care about.
Something we actually care about, and something that is actually good for enjoyment and for entertainment and everything.
Good for enjoyment.
The fandom should be of inclusion, and
you know when you got stuff that's bad for enjoyment? It's not like that. This is the good for enjoyment stuff.
Yeah, Star Wars is supposed to be a place of happiness and togetherness and rainbows and sunshine.
Rambos
Rambos
and Sunshine?
Yeah.
I'd watch that movie.
That's when he does his best work.
Rambos and Sunshine. I would watch that movie. That's like the My Little Pony Rambo crossover.
Sure.
Rambos and Sunshine.
Yeah. Well, with that,
do you think there's a Rambo version of a My Little Pony?
A Rambo?
A Rambo version, like it was a My Little Pony that was that served in something, and he was betrayed, and
like in the actual My Little Pony universe.
Yeah, he was betrayed, and now he's
there
out
has
for
to be
vengeance.
like a gruff something, like their name is something gruff, glitter gruff, or I don't know, something.
Gruff McTrots.
I imagine like Solid Snake as a pony, with like the bandana and like the eye
patch and everything,
the white spiky hair. Yeah, an eye patch maybe. Yeah. That's what I imagine. Well, I saw Solo again since last time we recorded.
And it was all Rambos and Sunshine.
It was definitely Rambos and Sunshine. And I liked it even more the second time.
Yes.
You still haven't seen it again.
I still haven't seen it a second time, which I'm surprised that I haven't. Not that I have anything against it. I would totally see it again.
Well, you should. Yeah, seeing it a second time. I took my wife to see it, and she enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it even more and caught some more stuff than I did the first time.
I take my wife to see it every night. Hey, hi.
It's a great joke after all that sexism talk we just had.
Hey, we're married. It's okay, right?
I'm not
no.
Even, not,
Uh-oh.
It's stuff. So Solo. Real good film. And I thought it was interesting taking my wife to see it, she enjoys Star Wars films, but doesn't care as much as I do about them and knowing all of the things.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, with the fact of like Darth Maul being at the end.
Was she interested at all going into it?
She wanted to see it. Like, she actually wanted to see this one.
Okay. Did she have any idea about the plot? Did you brief her beforehand or anything?
Yeah, she saw the trailer, so she knew it was about young Han Solo, basically.
Okay.
And meeting Chewbacca and stuff like that.
Okay.
And she'd heard me. She sat through many of my rantings about how the movie was pointless and before the movie came out about how we did not need this movie and how much trouble it had gone through with production.
So what was the conversation afterwards?
And then we did see it and we both liked it. Well, I thought it was interesting because with me, following stuff with Star Wars and knowing the other stories and then spoiler, Maul showing up at the end, I was wondering like how that.
Someone's frantically trying to find the mute button.
Oh God!
Oh no! Spoiler.
Where's the mute on my COS CD player?
So it's burning our podcast to a CD.
Yeah.
Per episode, not even a bunch of episodes.
It's a COS. It's got the bass boost and the anti
anti-skip.
Skip. Yeah. The ones you can actually carry in your pocket. The good ones. I haven't thought about those in forever. I don't know why that was the first thing I went to with the pause button. Oh God, I'm an old man. It's happening.
You know how when you listen to your podcast on your COS CD player, and it's just skipping all around, and you just don't know what anybody's talking about anymore.
I don't know why. I just imagine someone like walking down the street with a ghetto blaster, but a podcast playing out of it.
This is all things.
Still somebody with the ghetto blaster, like strutting down the street, like it's like 80s music should be coming out of it, but it's just a podcast. It's like an NPR podcast, just playing for some reason. That's the picture I have now. Anyways, so taking my wife to see it, who doesn't follow all that, and then Maul showing up in it, like I wondered what the thought would be, or how that would even affect the viewer that didn't really know anything about that.
Okay, yeah.
And I mean, like, I was like, because I asked her, did that last scene make any sense to you? Was there any, like, did it have any importance?
It's like,
I was like, was there any importance to that last scene to you? Like,
leading questions for her?
Yeah. So I was like, because I wanted to know without, like, revealing what just happened, like, what the importance of what just happened was.
Okay.
So I was like, did that last scene, like, have any extra importance, or did it seem oddly placed, or like it had more importance than it should have?
It's like a focus group. It's like a mini focus group.
I had a clipboard.
So that last scene, do you have any observations?
I had some flop sweat. My sleeves were rolled and my tie was loose, and I was furiously taking notes on her thoughts.
Like a green hue fluorescent light in your car.
Yeah. Because I was wondering, because that happening for people that know Darth Maul and know what else has happened with him, I was like, oh shit, that's awesome, that's really cool. So what has happened here now? Yeah. What here now has happened? And I was like, is that gonna matter to anyone, or is it gonna feel out of place to someone who has no idea what has happened with Darth Maul, or who even Darth Maul is? Because some people have no idea. Go see Solo and have no idea what a Darth Maul is.
A Darth Maul.
And
now I've been to a shopping mall, but I ain't never seen a Darth Maul.
And if I remember correctly, I don't think she like knew that was Darth Maul, like from seeing it.
Oh.
until we started talking about it, and then she was like, "Oh yeah, I remember him from the movie, from the other movie."
Okay.
But like, she's like, it just seemed like it fit fine. Like it just seemed like it went with the movie and didn't seem out of place or anything. Like it's like she said, it kind of just seemed like they were setting it up for another movie.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting because
that's basically the same conversation I had with my dad, who hasn't kept up with the Clone Wars or the Rebels timeline, but he knew it was Darth Maul at least. So he was like, yeah, Darth Maul showed up at the end, which I thought was kind of weird, and I was trying to figure out how that timeline all worked together. And so I explained what happened in Clone Wars and Rebels, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense."
Okay. Yeah, I started explaining a lot to my wife. She's like, "Yeah, okay." I didn't ask. I didn't need to know. But thank you. I was like, "This is why it's cool," and she doesn't care.
You slide away. You get home and you slide away like a moving piece of your wall, and there's a big bulletin board with
strings pointing to pictures, and
you pull out an extender wand thing and you start slapping them.
You see here, he was halved, and then
it all begins here.
Over here, he got legs.
And then they found him in space, and then he had a brother, and his brother was yellow, and then
she's already gone at that point.
And the witch? I didn't mention the witch.
Your tires just squealing outside as she's furiously getting away from me. But no, so I thought it was...
She's outside throwing tires.
Yeah. So I just seeing it with her, I didn't really think about that the first time, but going into it the second time, I was like, that was like a really big moment of like, oh crap, what does this mean? What happened with this guy, and what's the story been? And then when I was seeing it with her, I was like, I wonder if this means anything to her. Like while that scene's happening, I was like, I wonder if this means anything, if it has any importance, if it even seems normal, or if it seems like it was put in and is out of place.
Yeah.
Which I guess it didn't seem like it was out of place, which is a testament, I guess, to the filmmakers.
Yeah.
For throwing in something so fan serving, but at the same time still serving the story.
Yeah. I think Rebels is the show that doesn't really pull that off. From
where it feels like stuff is just like, here's a fan service item for the sake of fan service. It doesn't really have to serve the story, but we put this here anyways.
I remember watching an episode where Princess Leia shows up for the first time, and it was like, why does she need to be here? She doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been anyone else, and the same story would have happened.
Kind of. I mean, she obviously had connections to the Rebel Alliance that maybe someone else didn't have, or wouldn't have. But still, it's like they wrote the whole story just as an excuse to get her into the show,
to throw her in there.
But it doesn't, like this. Obviously, this movie wasn't written to be able to put Darth Maul at the end. That was obvious.
Right. They had no reason to do that, and then
Right.
I wonder if that was always the plan. With the refilming and even totally recasting the character, the villain, because Dryden Voss was not the original villain. It was, I think, an alien. It was played by I can't remember the guy's name now.
Yeah, Michael something.
Michael Ironsides. not him. But it was going to be it was a whole different character, and I wonder if that was ever a part of it. I wonder if the Maul thing was always planned. If it was written that way, or if when they changed the villain, if they're like, oh, here's another thing we can do since we have to redo this whole ending situation.
Wasn't he in...
I'm sure we'll never know.
Wasn't he in Top Gun?
Michael Ironsides?
Yeah.
And
then he was in wasn't he in a
lot of things, Michael?
An Arnold Schwarzenegger movie too?
That's so very vague.
Well, now I have to find it, but somebody's gonna have to talk while I look for this.
You're gonna look.
He was in Scanners. That's where I remember him from. He was in Scanners, and he was also in Top Gun. He played
Starship Troopers. He's in.
He was in Starship Troopers too. That's right.
I think in Total Recall with Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, Schwarzenegger movie.
That one. Everything.
Which, by the way, I saw Running Man for the first time the other night.
Oh yeah,
that was really good.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Really?
Yeah,
it was really good. I was not expecting it to be that good. It was a corny 80s movie, and obviously Arnold Schwarzenegger, but like some of the moments and the deaths in the movie it's just a really good movie.
I've never seen it. I'll have to.
Yeah, didn't we go to a Halloween Horror Nights where they had a Running Man themed house? once.
Yeah, something related.
Or it was like a parody on it.
Off-brand Running Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Interesting. I'll have to watch it. So in having seen Solo a second time, just like little things I caught, like at the very beginning after the train heist is gone to shit and they're talking to Dryden Voss, how Dryden Voss is talking to Beckett and he says, "You know who I work for, you know what he'll expect of me." Which, having already seen the movie, and like that line didn't really I don't even remember hearing that line the first time I saw the movie at all. But seeing it the second time, I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure the things he expects is lots and bad." Whatever whatever if because if Dryden doesn't pay up, because I'm sure this has been tasked of Dryden and Dryden's then tasking it to people underneath him.
Yeah.
That Dryden's going to be totally SOL if he doesn't get the unobtainium, which is basically what it was.
Shoot, what was it called?
Iridium?
No.
Nope.
Something with a Z. There was a Z in it.
Coaxium?
Coaxium?
Coaxium, yeah.
Is that what it was?
That's it.
Okay.
Just the whole, every time they said that word, all I could think of was unobtainium.
Yeah.
Just
hyperfuel.
It sounded stupid, but so yeah,
any element like that in a sci-fi movie sounds
a made up element.
Weird.
Yeah. So like hearing that from Dryden, it clicked a little more with like what the stakes were for Dryden in this. With what was lurking behind him in this whole situation.
Holy crap. This is crazy. The first time coaxium, quote unquote, hyperfuel showed up was in the Star Wars mobile game, Star Wars Commander.
Oh wow. I remember that game.
Weird.
That's really cool.
No, I don't think that's cool at all. I think that's
that they put it in something.
The stuff with the theme park, I felt like was kind of pushing the limit a little bit. The fact that Batuu is now being referenced in real things.
Because it's a real place.
Well, yeah, that's the whole premise, right? But it's a theme park.
You don't like that they introduced it somewhere else?
No, I don't like the fact that it came from a mobile game.
Well,
a mobile free-to-play.
That's the world now, Michael.
Purchases game. A reference that was one of the key story elements in this movie came from a mobile game in 2014.
I don't know. At least they're linking it through stuff, but I mean, obviously we don't.
Strange.
You don't play mobile games like that, and I really don't either. But it's kind of
it's a new day.
What
Tyler.
the people do now.
We've grown beyond
transitioned to the rocking chairs in the front porch.
We've grown beyond this stuff.
Yeah. And then at another point, so at the very end when Kira's talking to Maul, because the first time I saw it, I was kind of just enthralled with the fact that it was Maul. I wasn't super paying attention to the dialogue at that point.
Yeah.
So I caught some of it, but not all of it. But the fact that Kira told Maul that Beckett killed Dryden, that she wasn't there, and that she didn't know who else was working with Beckett. But then you realize after she said that,
right,
Solo has killed Beckett. So
outside.
Beckett is outside, and she doesn't know that yet either.
Right. They watched her take off.
Yeah.
In the yacht, assuming that Dryden was on there too, I guess, right?
Well, no, because Solo, he'd already died. Because Solo had left Kira up there to.
Oh, that's right.
Get the treasure, basically.
That's right. So Solo knows Dryden is dead, but then they part ways, and Han and Chewie are about to leave, and Beckett comes out and betrays Han.
Right, and Kira just tells Maul that it was just Beckett, and she didn't know who else he was working with, and that
which was a lie to
Beckett
cover for Han.
Killed Dryden, which of course she killed Dryden.
Right.
And then Maul tells her that we'll be working much more closely together from now on. Which it still feels very not straight up apprentice-y, but it still feels very apprentice-esque.
It's a very close collaboration.
Right. And I still think the whole thing with Dryden Voss is
like a right-hand man kind of thing. I don't know quite apprentice, but not apprentice in the Sith sense.
Right. But I'm sure he is, because they are his right-hand people, that he is trying to impart, I don't know, either some power or some ability to them to assist in their
I still don't know about that
power. I still think Dryden's whole thing was very dark-sidey.
Yeah, I still don't know about that. I'm sure we'll get his backstory somewhere at some point, but
yeah. And then in the movie, one of the things that I caught I didn't catch the subtlety, which some people might not think there's subtlety of it the first time, but seeing it the second time, where Han walks up at the sabacc table,
Yeah.
and says his name's Han,
Mm-hmm.
and then Orlando calls him Han, and he says it's Han, which haha, because that's how in the original movies their pronunciation was different when just with Lando.
Right.
And so in response to that, in the same game, Han calls the game sabacc. Because using the soft A, or using he uses the soft A.
And Lando
says sabacc.
Sabacc or Sabacc?
Sabacc.
Okay.
So they flip it. So Han does it again, does the same thing that Lando just did to him, like trying to play it back to him. And then you see it again with the Falcon, when Lando calls it the Falcon, and then like 2 seconds later, Han responds and refers to it as the Falcon.
The Falcon, yeah.
So they took this weird pronunciation thing from the original movies from Empire Strikes Back, and pretty much just turned it into a pissing match with them.
Yeah,
like that's just their relationship, because their whole first time meeting, they just went back and forth pronouncing things incorrectly. It's
pretty funny,
just to piss each other off, is what it seemed like. And I didn't catch that the first time.
But then even remember in Empire when Chewie's choking Lando.
Yeah,
and Lando's saying Han right there too. So that's just how he says it.
That's in the original movie, that was just how he says it. And for some reason, no one ever understood why Harrison Ford called it the Falcon instead of the Falcon. So they took these weird pronunciation things
they tried to give a reason to it.
They gave a reason to it, and I like the reason they gave, that there's just this weird competitive pissing match between them just to piss each other off.
Yeah.
Just doing it just to get at each other.
It's pretty funny.
So now thinking of Empire Strikes Back, and when they greet each other, he's like, Han, old buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And just like the first thing Lando says to him is just to poke him and just twist the knife a little bit, just because their relationship is that of friends, but not really.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really funny. So I really like that addition.
One thing I thought was good too was that same scene where Lando comes up in Empire and is like, you got a lot of nerve showing up here after what you pulled.
Oh yeah.
And I thought that was going to be a reference to stealing the Falcon.
Yeah.
Which it turns out it's not, because that happens way earlier in the movie, and they have interactions all the way up until the end. Well, I mean, he doesn't get it early; he gets it at the very end.
Yeah, but it's the same. It's the same meeting they had at the end of the movie too, when he does win the Falcon from him. Basically, kind of the same. Walking up, they're like, "Hey!" They look like they're fighting. They're like, "Ah!" And then they hug. Yeah. Because everyone is watching.
Yeah.
And so they kind of do that because Leia's there too.
I don't know that.
I think they're more. They are definitely more friends at that point.
I took it more as there's going to be something else that happens where.
Oh there's going to be more history
where things kind of end on a bad note, and then finally Han shows up.
Possibly where it's just like that. The same thing that happened at the end of this movie is basically
could happen.
Is the next time when they meet in Empire, something else like that has happened since.
Right.
They just have this love-hate relationship with each other.
I was just saying, I like how they didn't. It wasn't kind of a really obvious thing. You know how we were saying before, this was just going to be catchphrases of the movie.
Yeah.
And in one way it was, but in another way it didn't take the really obvious route for all of these moments.
Yeah, the only one I found that was when Han said, "I've got a really good feeling about this."
Yeah, that was dumb.
That one I was like, "Oh, okay."
Some of the little pieces of dialogue, like the thing with the name and then that part, were just a little too. But everything wasn't like that.
Right.
That's my point.
Right.
It's not everything was the super obvious way to write something. Write that moment is happening.
Yeah.
So, all right, enough about that movie.
I still I would go watch it right now.
They didn't announce the release date for the Blu-ray and 4K packages, the video at home stuff.
Oh yeah.
They didn't announce that, but they announced some of the packages that retailers are going to have.
I saw the 4K steelbook for Best Buy. Which it was really just the art, really. That's all that they showed.
Okay,
I don't think they had any,
they announced Target is going to have a special edition.
Okay.
1-2 that's got a little, little Metal Master kits.
Okay.
It's going to have that of the Falcon inside.
Oh, okay, I think
inside the case.
Is it red? Is it
Yeah,
like a
it's
red
red.
Falcon?
Mhm.
Okay, I think I saw just the Falcon thing itself. I
Okay.
didn't see the Blu-ray.
So there'll be that for the 4K editions, and then they'll have standard Blu-ray editions too. But there's no release date for it yet. But I was thinking about when I saw that, like as much as I really enjoyed this, I don't know. I don't know if I want to buy it right away. Like this seems like a movie, kind of like Rogue One, where I would just buy the digital and be fine with that.
This one I'm probably gonna pre-order the steelbook.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like Last Jedi for me. Like I want to have this because I would go watch it tonight after we're done recording if you wanted to. Like I would just go watch it again.
Really?
I really enjoy this movie for some reason. I just really really like it.
That's so funny.
But at the same time, like I can watch this one with my son too.
Yeah.
Whereas the Last Jedi, I don't think he's 4. So the Last
Some
Jedi
of the
is
stuff is a little
dark.
heavy.
It's a little dark and a little heavy. And even watching, like, I can kind of watch The Force Awakens with him for the most part. But, like, at 4, the Rathtars kind of scare him. And then at the end, of course, Han gets killed and it gets a little more rough at the end.
Yeah.
And The Last Jedi is, like, really dark and really, I don't know.
It's just heavy.
A little more heavy.
Yeah.
So I haven't watched that one with him. But I know, like,
that one's just
I
hard
know
to...
Solo I can just turn on and me and my son can watch it.
Right. That Last Jedi is more hard to explain kind of what's going on because it's so...
It's deeper. Yeah.
There's the main obvious story that you can kind of pick up on, but then some of the choices that people make, like,
right.
You know, why is Luke angry? Why is he not helping Rey? Like that kind of stuff. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, like it's
why did Luke want to kill Ben?
Darker and deeper.
Yeah.
What's
going on with the mirror? What does the mirror mean?
You know? Right. Whereas Solo is just like fun, and I know like I could just turn that on at any point, and my son could sit down and watch it with me, or I could just turn it on.
So you're saying
it doesn't matter who else is in the room when I'm watching.
It's the daytime TBS movie of Star Wars.
It's not that bad. I don't know. It's like The Force Awakens, where I could just turn it on and have it on in the background just to have it on and hear it.
It's the daytime Spike rerun of Die Hard of Star Wars, is what it is.
Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon.
You could just you could just turn that on. Die Hard 3, the one with the bank. That was Die Hard 3, right? The one with the bank.
Yes.
The Federal Reserve.
I think so.
Was that 3? I think that was 3.
I think so.
Where you can just turn it on at any moment and you're like, yeah, I'll sit here and watch this for the rest of the day. Even though you've seen it a bunch of times and it's in the middle of the movie.
It's like anytime Jurassic Park is on.
Yeah, or that. Right.
Yeah. Anytime Jurassic Park is on, it's going to
pop it on.
Now is going to stay on because I'm going to watch it even though I've seen it.
Does this feel like a
times.
Spielberg kind of movie to you? I just said we were going to stop talking about this and we're getting...
I mean, it's definitely... It feels like Ron Howard. I mean, it definitely feels like Ron Howard to me. In the the way it was shot, and then in just the fun of it.
The way it was shot, definitely, but the way the story was told, it doesn't.
Told?
Jeez, it's late.
It's not that late. It's like 9:30. What's your problem?
I was out all day.
like humans.
I was awake all day.
I'm sorry you've been awake since the morning time until the evening time, like all of us.
I'll think of an excuse.
But I guess I kind of get what you're saying, like where it feels, I don't know, Spielbergy and
because it's more light and fun
sense,
and I was gonna say it doesn't really have a sense of wonder. It's not really quite that good.
Jeez, now we're getting just nitpicky.
Well, like
it's just it's just like that. Just like
has a sense of like innocence, like not really knowing all the details about where E.T. comes from and why he's here.
Right.
And it's just the sense of wonder to it, and like Super 8 had that. It's not really it's not a Spielberg movie, but
yeah,
Super 8 had that too.
I get what you mean.
This doesn't really have that.
Well, for me, it's more like The Force Awakens, where it's The Force Awakens. As much as I love it, it's not a. You don't really have to focus on it that much. Like it's just fun.
Very light.
It's light and it's fun, and
Star Wars light.
there's important story elements to it, but for the most part, there's nothing earth-shattering, right?
Yeah.
It's just very fun and interesting, and everything happens very fast, and there's lots of just that action and constant things going on. Whereas Last Jedi is there's the sitting and the talking time now, which
in
is
a way that
the same
like,
way we had that in
New
in
Hope was kind
old
of like
movies.
that, and Return of the Jedi had a lot more intricate
Right.
story elements.
And Solo's that again, where it's just like fun action story where there's not really. I mean, it's not even like
it's comfortable,
right. Whereas Force Awakens, obviously, there's consequences because there's the whole Starkiller thing. Whereas
Right.
Solo doesn't even have that, like, to care about, like, because it's Han Solo and Chewbacca.
Yeah,
They're definitely gonna survive this.
right.
So it's like let's just watch the fun thing that happens.
How do they survive it?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like an Indiana Jones movie almost.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
Again, that's what made me think of. Yeah, that's what made me think of. It's kind of a Spielberg type movie.
So yeah, that's. I would put that on at any point, just like I do The Force Awakens.
Yeah. So all you complainers and whiners out there, just go see it.
Us. like we were for months before the movie came out.
Oh, people that are still complaining and whining though.
Well,
go see the movie.
It's the people that boycott it because they didn't like The Last Jedi that don't make sense to me. Because it has nothing to do with The Last Jedi. That's already made its money. It's done. So
all right, fine. I'll say complain and whine all you want. Fine. That's fine.
If
complain
you've seen
and
it.
whine. No. If you
you
haven't
don't
seen
have a right to complain if you haven't seen it.
We did.
We complained before it came out. But if we like right now we're complaining that this is a bad movie and it shouldn't exist and we hadn't seen it after it had come out. Whereas like
Okay,
now
fine.
we've
All
changed
right,
we've changed our tune because it was actually good. But we would also have the right to say, and we do say, the stuff we don't like about it.
Here's
say
here's
the
what
stuff
we
we don't
found
like
that
about
we
it.
don't like. Yeah.
Whereas continuing to say this movie doesn't deserve to exist. Nobody see it because it doesn't need to be a movie and it's a bad movie and it's pointless. Like, well, see it and then you'll have a reason to say that, right?
See it and believe it.
Right. At least have a reason to continue to judge something that now exists.
Like Rebels.
We were prejudging.
I have watched Rebels. I have sort of kept up with it except for the final season. And I have legitimate reasons that I do not care about it,
Right.
and I think it should go away, which thankfully it has.
It has, and it's done. So
done! I did it!
You succeeded.
Do I need to send out a campaign letter?
Your boycott finally worked. 10 years
See,
later.
it does work.
Great.
Soylent Brothers.
Soylent?
Is that what they call themselves? The Soylent Brothers?
I hope so.
Make
All right,
America
fine.
soy
Enough
again?
of Soylent and Solo. This as of recording,
Sloylo.
we're recording this on the weekend of E3 happening, and there's not a lot of Star Wars news so far, except for EA did announce a game coming out called Jedi Fallen Order. That's exactly what E3 sounds like, by the way.
Always.
It's Jedi Fallen Order. It's an action game to be released the holiday 2019. Holiday 2019. I just realized that's what it said. Holiday 2019. So on every holiday in 2019, keep an eye out because you never know. It doesn't.
Is that
you
a
don't know
day
which
on the
one.
calendar? Holiday 2019.
That's what December's just
Brought to you by brands.
December's just called that now. Holiday month.
That's what Thanksgiving feels like.
Holiday?
Just holiday. Because it's all like...
So they specified
Parade
holiday
and
2019. So just, when it's Easter or Arbor Day or Rosh Hashanah, just keep an eye out.
Is Arbor Day... Does that have anything to do with like botany and trees?
It has specifically to do with trees, yes.
Okay. Because of arboring.
Yes, because of Arbor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you...
You're not aware of Arbor Day?
No. I know...
You don't celebrate
I've
it
heard-
religiously?
I've heard of it. It's not on my calendar.
It's like saying, does Flag Day have to do with, like, flags?
those wavy things at the top of poles.
If I said no, what would we then assume it was about?
I don't know, like you're flagging something.
Truckers. Like it's about hitchhikers, right? Like flagging down for rides. It's like
So what is Arbor
embracing-
Day? What's it all about?
it's like Earth Day. It's just
We already have Earth Day.
but
Why do we have a separate day for trees?
we have to get more granular. So first we celebrate the Earth and then the trees.
But an arborist is somebody who like specializes in trimming trees, right? Trimming and taking care of trees. A tree surgeon. That's the actual definition
It
for
is.
arborist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they're called.
So we're celebrating tree surgeons for Arbor Day?
No, it's celebrating trees. Like on Arbor Day, you're encouraged to plant new trees. Because
So you're not celebrating
we're currently
the
cutting
people...
all of them down, so we're like, please, we put some more in there.
So we're not celebrating the people that take care of trees. We are celebrating the trees themselves.
The trees themselves, yes.
Okay. I don't understand. There's already an Earth Day.
I don't know, Michael. I didn't decide this.
Nature
So, yes,
holidays.
Holiday 2019, possibly Arbor Day, as we've discussed. This game may come out. It's being developed by Respawn, which was the developer for the Titanfall games, which EA purchased Respawn back in December 2017. So,
our favorite publisher.
But the only points they had, because they had nothing to show or say, I think it was just like we need to say something about Star Wars games because it's not going well. So at least tell them that we have this idea that we might be doing. That's what it felt like. I watched the interview. There's like no information to be told other than you get to play as a Jedi, you can hold a lightsaber, and it takes place between episodes 3 and 4. That's it. That's all they got.
Thanks a lot.
So what if they said you can play as a Jedi, but you don't get to hold a lightsaber? So they could just say you get to play as a Jedi, right? Like there's not...
Your lightsaber...
Is there an assumption then that like, well, do we get a lightsaber?
It's like a masochism kind of thing. Your lightsaber is always out of reach.
That's the point of the game.
You can see it, but you can't.
Maybe they had to specify because it's called Jedi Fallen Order, like because they're fallen, they don't have lightsabers. I don't know.
The thrill of the lacking is what drives you.
So I'm excited that it's an action game and not
International Migratory Bird Day. Number 4 on National Environmental Holidays. I'm looking up all the other environmental holidays.
So it's an action game, which is not a multiplayer shooter. Though it could be a multiplayer action game because that's what Titanfall was. But it was a shooter as well.
Junk Mail Awareness Week. Every time
the
the mail comes is Junk Mail Awareness Day.
It is. So if Respawn has only done Titanfall and they're now making a Star Wars action game, there's like nothing,
Day.
There's like no idea to base that off of because
Global Wind Day.
What? What are you saying now?
It's number 10 on this list. Or what are we talking about?
Would you say Blowhole Day?
Yes.
Okay.
Blowhole Day.
I'm for it. Was there a question? I don't know. I'm lost.
Go blow a hole.
All right. What is it time? So what I was trying to say while you were talking about blowholes. Respawn has only made the Titanfall games. Like that's what they've done.
That's it, really?
So they're making a Star Wars action game. So there's really nothing to like base this off of.
Who's making that new open world game that's kind of like it looks like Titanfall and Destiny mashed together? You know what I'm talking about?
I believe it's EA.
Oh, isn't it BioWare? Is it BioWare?
Oh,
that's doing that? What is that new?
I know what you're talking about, and I'm pretty sure it got horrible reviews.
Is it out already? It's not out already, is it?
Anthem. Anthem, yes.
That is a BioWare game.
It's supposed to suck.
Okay. I thought that might have been the same developer.
I thought that was EA as well.
Well, but it is EA. They're the publisher, but BioWare is the studio, the developer.
But yeah, so Respawn only making the Titanfall games, which were like multiplayer shooters, just with mechs. There's really no basis to think of an action game. Other than and even then, when you were not in mechs, you were still first-person shooter. So I doubt an action game is going to be first-person, especially if you're a Jedi with a lightsaber. It'd have to be third-person, I would assume. Unless it's like...
Yeah, that would
unless
be
it's like Skyrim-y, where you just have a lightsaber like glowing in your face at all times, being super annoying. So yeah, so all we know is it's Respawn and EA, and you get to hold a lightsaber, and so there's really no... Because of the track record for all of those people, there's nothing...
Yeah. The setting at least sounds cool.
Yeah, the title, Jedi Fallen Order, sounds interesting.
Well,
it takes place between 3 and 4, which...
Yeah, so you're a rogue Jedi, basically.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Being hunted.
Which, all these stories in video games are, quote, canon now. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to have a story in that period where we don't currently have a story.
Right.
But yeah, so we've got a year and a half to wait for that. So it'll come out, I guess, with episode 9.
Interesting.
Around there. Yep, that was E3. And then
That was
recently,
E3. That's it.
yep,
That was all.
that's all that's
that was
happened
announced,
with Star Wars so far. Which EA has Star Wars, and they're not
unfortunately.
doing anything else with it. Recently, the Disney had their Galactic Nights event that they have, with where the launch bay is with all the Star Wars stuff, and they had a panel hosted by Warwick Davis and David Collins with the Imagineers from Disney, and they talked more about Galaxy's Edge.
Say that time
again.
5 times fast.
I won't.
Okay.
the outpost on Batuu that is Galaxy's Edge is called Black Spire Outpost. So we have a name for the village now.
That's like the neutral area, right? Pretty
the
much.
The outpost itself, yeah.
Oh, okay, right, yeah. the place you are at.
Yeah.
And the outpost has a resistance.
It has
area,
underbelly with
a first order recruitment center,
stuff.
and yeah, okay, gotcha.
And
it was mentioned in Solo, wasn't it?
Black Spire Outpost?
I think so.
Yeah, and then the planet's gonna be featured in the Thrawn book coming up too.
Nice. Yeah.
Which is next month. So yeah,
July.
So we have a name for the location, not just the planet now. There's going to be a creature stall where you can examine various creatures from the Star Wars universe in person. You can see a Porg in there, some more esoteric creatures, and even a Loth cat. People were referring to it as like a Star Wars petting zoo. I wonder how much you actually get to investigate or examine these creatures. I don't like that word. I don't want to examine.
That's like
I think it's like a veterinary. I think it's like a veterinary.
Yeah.
We're just like, all right, well, you're here to help with the examination. All right, here's your gloves and a probe. Get to work on those Loth cats. We think they've got a disease.
All I can picture is lifting up tails.
Right.
When I hear that word.
Those 10 Loth cats need their anal glands expressed. Get to it. Oh, I came to Disney for this.
Have you ever done that?
No.
I've had to.
I've not.
It is the most disgusting thing
I pay people to do that for me.
I have ever done in my entire life, or smelled in my entire life.
I've heard it's bad.
It is.
Expressing of an anal gland is not something I imagine to be something good.
It's not a pleasant experience. It's a very bad one.
The words anal gland don't sound good. So hopefully you don't have to do that.
Gland.
Hopefully you don't have to do that with the Loth cats. I imagine it's gonna.
There's a line and a little. You stick your hand through one of those walls with rubber gloves.
Yeah.
And you put your hand in.
All right, next. I mean, I imagine this examining
pictures.
Various creatures. I wonder if they will be animated in some form, and it'll be like a horrible zoo with them in crates, which I doubt. Or if it's just gonna be like the launch bay is now, where they just have like figures of them, like full sized figures of them to look at.
A fake thing.
But everything in Galaxy's Edge is supposed to be like
immersive,
real play and immersive.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't fit that bill either, which is really weird.
It's probably going to be some kind of real thing, I would imagine. Some kind of farm or something, maybe. I don't know.
Just a farm with random porgs and Loth cats. During this, they also like passed out trading cards, which they do for everything now. But it had like it had art, like concept art for the area and some of the real play stuff. Like with it being real, and like one of the pictures was of like a blue milk cart, like hover cart, like delivering a big jug of blue milk to one of the stalls.
Nice,
like just stuff that'll be happening.
Yeah,
like while you're there.
Nice,
which I thought that was, I don't know, just one of the more immersive things happening.
Yeah.
They also showed a picture of a full-size resistance transport that was built by some company in China, and says that we're going to go on an adventure in it. Which I can't think of any of the rides that have been announced. You've got the Falcon ride, so you don't need a resistance transport for that. There's
going to be some kind of first order.
The first order one, but I think we've seen the vehicle for that, which is like those troop transports.
Yeah.
That have like 6 people sitting on them.
I think so. Yeah.
So I don't know what this would be. I can't think of it. There's not another ride.
It makes sense to have you've got the Falcon ride, which is kind of your neutral ride. You've got your
Yeah.
First Order thing, and then now you've got your Resistance
So
ride.
is there a ride that they haven't announced yet?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. There's I bet there's tons of stuff that hasn't been announced yet.
Could be
I wouldn't be surprised if we have
an additional like one. I know there'll
one
be
or
like
two
I know
more
there'll be like
rides that-
smaller stuff, but like the two big rides we know of are the Falcon ride and the Stormtrooper escape ride.
Sure.
I don't know. Resistance one would be cool.
Yeah.
And then apparently Nia Num is going to be a part of Batu, and they actually tracked down the then
The same
graduate
vo-
student Kip Sang Rotik, who recorded his voice for Return of the Jedi. So the original guy who did the voice of Nia Num in Return of the Jedi,
Which is
they
pretty
tracked-
much just the laugh.
right.
yeah.
They tracked him down to voice Nia Num again for the stuff in Batu, which, I mean, as unnecessary as that is, that's really cool that they would do that. Yeah, that was
Pretty much.
I think that was it.
And then the
It's like they just asked like
the big wide
they
eyed
just
like
asked this guy a
"Oh,
question and then
yeah."
recorded his answer to it. That was they asked him a funny question and they recorded it and then like, oh, we should save this, use it in Star Wars. It's cool that they tracked him down and he gets to be a part of this Disney thing now.
What do you think about being in a movie?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just his answer. He doesn't speak English. He never
It's gonna be
has.
the only thing he says.
That's just his answer to any question.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Well,
That's all. That's all of it, Michael.
we got through it. No.
What's happening with Star Wars coming up, Michael?
Coming up?
Sure.
When and what time frame? We've got the book coming out next month. The new Thrawn book.
Yep.
Battlefront 2 just had a solo DLC that came out not too long ago.
That's right.
A couple
And they
weeks ago.
announced, they did announce at E3 that
Which I
there's
haven't
going to be
played yet.
Clone Wars stuff being added to it as well.
Nice. Like Camino? Didn't they show that at one point? There was going to be like a Camino thing
Maybe.
for Battlefront 2. I would love to see that. That's my favorite part of Attack of the Clones is the whole Camino stuff.
Yeah, the only part
think
where
I've
there's only
mentioned
like
that
two
before.
actors involved and there's not a bunch of stupid
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's all CG, but I like the feel of the city and
I like
and
those.
Jango Fett. Obviously, it was cool.
I like the
all that
Kaminoans
stuff.
as well. I thought they were cool.
Yeah. What else? What else is going on?
Yeah, the Thrawn book, I just verified. I was just double checking the date. It's July 24th, so it's still a little ways out.
A little more than a month.
Nothing.
Other things.
else. Apparently, filming is starting for episode 9. People that are working on it have been posting stuff to social media, like, and they're in in Britain or in England, I should say, where
Okay.
Pinewood is. So
Oh.
people that are working on like the DP has like posted stuff that he's over in
Oh,
England. So stuff at Pinewood is going to be happening
all
somewhat
right.
soon. They've changed the production, the working production name of it again. Because it had that name before that was like Black Crystal or Black something. I forget
Really?
what it was called.
I can't remember what the new one is. It has IX in the name.
It's Trixie.
It's like a Trixie. Okay,
Yeah, it's called Trixie now with the I and X capital.
that's right.
Whereas before it was like Black
So
Crystal
secret.
something, but I can't remember what it was called.
Black Crystal.
But yeah, so
Dark Crystal.
I mean, they always have some stupid production name like Space Bear for The Last Jedi
Mhm.
that have nothing to do with the movie. But yeah, so its production name is Trixie, so watch out for that stuff. That's all we got for 9. Hopefully there will be something. Stuff will start happening because they're going to start filming soon. So with the what leaks and various things we got for episode 8, that stuff will hopefully be happening in the next few months. And Solo is wrapping up its likely short tenure at theaters because of
Because of all the
because of funds.
successful brothers in making America great again.
Yep. So I would imagine
Thanks, guys.
if any of these movies that have been rumored,
Protecting us from women once again.
if the Obi-Wan and the Fett film that have been rumored, if either of those are actually happening, I would expect an announcement for that like sometime soon, right? In the next 3 months?
Sometime this year. Yeah.
This year. Great. And you've got Star Wars Celebration happening in Chicago. That was announced since last time.
Yep.
It was announced, but the tickets are up and available for
You were saying the full week.
ordering, and the full week's already sold out.
Yeah.
Or the full convention tickets already sold out. So now you can only do 1 day passes. And I think some of those were even getting low, like Saturday.
Yeah. We will
And
probably not be making
We're
it to
too
that.
poor to go to Chicago.
So we'll be covering that remotely.
But if you like the show and want us to go to Chicago, you can go to
Hey, buy us tickets. We'll go.
patreon.com/HokeyReligion and support the show and put a note in, and that's for us to go to Chicago because we would like to do that.
We'll cover the hell out of that thing. Yeah, hell yeah. If you send
If
us,
you pay us to go, yeah.
if you, the
Just
two
like
listeners,
Star Wars reviews, if you pay us, we'll review it good.
get together, all 5 of you, and split the cost.
Split the cost. So each of you pay $300.
That's reasonable.
Yeah.
Think of all the amazing content.
Think of all the
Hashtag
entertainment.
content that will come out of it.
No.
It'll subside you
That will never happen.
for literally days,
At the most,
a week.
if you're lucky.
If we're lucky, we'll get a week worth of content out
Sure.
of that.
Yeah. So if you really want that to happen, like I said, patreon.com/HokeyReligion. Otherwise, I don't think I have anything else to talk about this episode. Do you, Michael?
I don't.
In
Send us
that
stuff on
case,
Twitter.
Yeah. Find us on Twitter at Hokey_religion. You can shoot us an email at asklobot@hokeyreligion.com. You can find us on the YouTubes and the Facebooks and all the places that people do the things. And Instagram. Though we don't do much there.
No, I think the last time we posted was
Because
a month ago.
I'm like we've mentioned earlier, we're both old men now, and we forget about stuff like that. So we're really good at this podcasting thing and garnering attention. But if you do like the show, go on iTunes, leave a review so that people can help people find the show. And that's all I have. Do you have?
I do not have any else.
Then that's the end.
That's all of it.
This is Tyler.
This is Michael.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hokey religion is an ancient word. Hokey religion is an ancient weapons or no magic for a good blaster at your side.
Oh, yeah, they're called Give Us Legends. That's the name of their group. I guess the group started because of the books when they first
boy.
took all the books away. People are calling them a Star Wars fandom terrorist organization.
It's the Revengeancers for Star Wars.
The group uses the language of terror to conduct spoiler jihads and attempt to unite disenfranchised. And attempts to unite disenfranchised dregs to their cause of attacking progressive stories from Lucasfilm and ensuring a happy Star Wars fan base cannot exist online. Like, that's their thing, is to make sure no one's happy with Star Wars, basically.
What's the point? What's the
The
end
group
goal
is
for
radically
that?
against diversity, feminism, and most of all, in a prolonged tantrum, they want Star Wars books published a long time ago to be canonized.
So what's the end goal for that? I don't understand. What do they really want?
So
They don't want
here's
any
the post related to the whole thing with Kelly Marie Tran. They said, okay, it's time to come clean. I, along with others, some of whom I inspired, helped force Kelly Marie Tran from Instagram, and it was bloody glorious. In the 6 months since The Last Jedi, hell, even the last 4 to 6 years of this perversion of canon, it warmed my heart to see the...
Perversion of canon. The fact that a woman is a main character?
They were just all the way back to, the first movie, yeah. It warmed my heart to see the true fans rise up against Kathleen Kennedy and her feminazi agenda in the form of her soldiers like Pablo Hidalgo, Daisy
Holy
Ridley, and now
crap.
Kelly Marie Tran. Each and every one of you are the true Rebel Alliance. What started out as a small group within the Alliance to preserve the expanded universe has grown into so much more. Ever since the good old days of rating the comments of Star Wars books from 2014 and orchestrating the spoiler jihad of 2015, and recently the bot attack of Rotten Tomatoes of 2017, and now the war against
The
Kathleen...
what attack?
Bot attack. So
For what
for
movie?
poorly reviewing stuff. I think probably
For Last Jedi?
Last Jedi. It said 2017, didn't it?
Good lord.
Yeah. And now the war against Kathleen Kennedy and her feminist soldiers. Never I could imagine seeing groups across all forms of social media that agreed with the example and ideals we've set all those years ago and ultimately want the same thing. This really warms my heart. Now go out there and fight for Legends restoration. Go out there and reverse this forced diversity. Go out there and show them what real Star Wars fans look like. Bring back the straight white male hero that isn't manufactured by a corrupt corporation like Disney.
What the hell? What does that mean?
What does that have to do with Star Wars? What does any of that have to
It
do
has,
with
it
Star
has
Wars?
nothing to. That's what my
Exactly.
point. What do they want?
That's the
What
problem.
do they really want?
So that's what everyone's talking about is the toxicity.
They don't like it, so no one else can
It's
have
not
it.
toxicity in Star Wars. It's one toxicity in fandom, and it's one just straight up toxicity that happens to be being outed with a purpose of Star Wars that's not related to Star Wars at all.
Good God.
It's just shitty people. It's just shitty people being shitty
Yeah.
for the sake of being shitty.
It's just shitty people.
Hashtag give us Legends. Hashtag no more forced diversity. Hashtag down with Disney.
I don't understand. I don't understand why.
But then people like this boycotted Solo, which is the first white male lead Star Wars movie since Disney redid all this. So if they want Disney to make those kind of movies, go see it and spend money so Disney knows they make money so they'll make more like that. Boycotting the one with a white male lead is not going to
Why did they boycott Solo? What was wrong with that?
to get Disney to stop messing up Star Wars.
But what was wrong with that, according to them?
Well, because Last Jedi was so bad, they were boycotting the next movie so that Disney doesn't make any money off of it, so they'll realize how bad Last Jedi was. Like, yeah, the reasoning behind it makes no sense.
The
That's not
logic
how
is
film
so
and money making
backwards.
works at all.
The logic is so backwards.
They're fighting wars that were already lost. Like the Legends thing, that happened.
That's over.
That's never happening. What? It's very over.
Also, what do they want that isn't being brought back already? What's left? Is it just the story, like the canon after
Yeah,
Return
the
of the
perversion
Jedi?
of canon they've done since then.
The perversion of canon that is having an Asian woman be in a Star Wars movie. Is that the perversion of canon? A Jedi that's a girl. A Luke Skywalker that is angry.
Yeah.
Wow. Oops.